Exclusive contracted novel by Feilu Novel Network. Descendants of martial arts emperor inherited by the heavenly emperor, starting with martial arts, standing in awe of all worlds, pushing forward for eternity, and achieving unparalleled imperial reverence. Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. Chapter 1. Descendants of the Heavenly Emperor. You are listening at novelfull.audio. He transforms into freedom, he transforms into eternity, and cannot change the desolation in his heart. Even if I were a wilderness or an emperor, I would not be able to solve the cause and effect of the world born in heaven, young and proud, a song of blood and chaos. The blood flag is cold, the war drums roar, fearless in this dark and chaotic world. The Luo Xian sword, third age bronze coffin, burial of the sorrow of the era. Traveling alone, being independent for eternity, inevitably tears will be scattered. I was passed down by the emperor of wilderness in my childhood. This immortal scripture is the supreme law of heaven and earth. The younger generation will remember that obtaining this immortal scripture, if it is successful, I hope to protect our human race comprehensively. An old voice reached Li Changming's ears. At the moment of being stunned, a series of prompt sounds from the system came to my ears. Ding dong. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the complete inheritance of the endless classic revised edition of the Wild Emperor. Ding dong. The technique is too powerful, and the system protection function is activated. Execute. Seal the immortal scripture. The current strength of the host is fourfold the day after tomorrow, unsealing the immortal scripture content 1 in 10,000. Ding dong. Alarm. Alarm. Get the attention of the super strong. Get the attention of the super strong. Urgent crossing. Urgent crossing. With a flash of brilliance, before Li Changming could recover, his body had already disappeared between heaven and earth. And when Li Changming disappeared, in the desolate land, a bunch of huge lantern-like eyes emitted a divine light, as if to see through heaven and earth. Oh! How did the aura of this treasure disappear? On the other side. Under the protection of the system, Li Changming carried out a forced crossing. Under the suppression of the power of heaven and earth. The flesh is cracked open. The power of the system emanated, and the physical body recombined. After so much repetition, Li Changming quickly passed out in pain. As consciousness passed away, a bitter smile appeared at the corner of the mouth. Other people's travels are all about growing up with the protagonist and being amazing together. It's good to have encountered a pit father system myself. As soon as I traveled through it, the protagonist had become the emperor of the wilderness for N years and was nowhere to be found. The human race was enslaved by countless tribes. I was about to find a place to hide and work hard to cultivate for thousands of years, to show off my strength. However, as soon as I found a place to live, something unexpected happened. I'm afraid I'm the most tragic traveler. Li Changming smiled helplessly, fearing that he might be the first traveler to die within 2 days. I don't know how long it has been. On a verdant mountain peak. Li Changming lay on the ground with a burst of light until it dissipated. He slowly opened his eyes and looked around, green mountains and lush waters. I'm still alive. Li Changming looked at the green mountains and waters under his feet with joy. The first feeling, living, is so beautiful. Li Changming thought to himself. Open the property panel. On the page, lines of dragon and phoenix dance characters are displayed. Host: Li Changming. Age: 18. Title: Human Guardian Realm. The 4 Heavenly Peaks of the Day After Tomorrow Technique. Immortal Classic page 1-0/10000000. Constitution. Congenital Dao body pets. None. Weapon. None. The day after tomorrow, with 4 peaks, my physical body has changed, but my strength has been preserved. It's quite good. TSK, the Immortal Scriptures. It seems that this wave is not at a disadvantage. Just then the system sound is ringing again. Congratulations to the host for escaping Xingtian and obtaining the Escape Xingtian Gift Pack *1 opening gift package. Congratulations to the host, who has obtained the 9-Yang Manual, Lingbo Minute Step, Heaven and Earth Move, Yang Finger, Taijiquan, Ladder Cloud Leap and other worldly skills. Ding Dong, triggered by the innate Dao effect, with a proficiency level of 100 out of 100 in mortal martial arts, Li Changming grinned and felt great. He's so damn cool. Take another look at the system panel. Host: Li Changming. Age: 18, Title: Human Guardian Realm. The 4 heavenly peaks of the day after tomorrow skill. Immortal Classic page 1, 0/10000000, the 9-Yang Manual, 100 out of 100, Martial Arts. Qiankuan Great Movement, 1 Yang Finger, Tai Chi, Ladder Cloud Leap, Lingbo Micro Step Constitution. Congenital Dao Body Pets. None. Weapon. None. Turn around and take a step forward. By the way, didn't you say that every world has a world mission? What world am I in now, and what is a world mission? Li Changming lazily sat under a tree. The importance of this world task is self-evident. In addition to providing generous rewards for oneself, more importantly, one can only leave after completing the task. The first world I traveled through before was perfect, but within 2 days of practicing, I had an accident. Ding, congratulations to the host. Trigger the world mission and defeat the 5 ultimate masters. You said, defeat the 5 wonderful masters, 5 people. Who are these 5 people? Li Changming asked suspiciously. The system stopped speaking and left Li Changming alone, sitting under the willow tree with a willow twig in his mouth and playing with the green leaves in his hand, muttering to himself. These 5 wonders can only be found in 2 places. The shooting eagle and the divine eagle. If it were a divine eagle, it would be much easier. Li Changming lazily collapsed on the ground, thinking. In the shooting of eagles, although Wang Chongyang died, Jing was promoted to one of the 5 wonders in just over 2 years. Although the Battle of Huashan had the intention of Huang Yaoshi and Hong Qigong giving up their talents, their strength should not be underestimated. If it were a divine eagle, then these 5 wonders, Li Changming's mouth curved slightly. However, at that time, Jing was ultimately a kid and should not have belonged to the top 5 level experts. When it comes to the harm caused by the 2 parties' power, choose the lighter and avoid the heavier. If it were a divine eagle, it would be easier to act. It would be more convenient to gather all the people. Images kept flashing in Li Changming's mind, but the system was hiding on the side, restoring energy and refusing to give him any prompts. Shindiao, although we can't be sure which world it is, it's not much different. But there seems to be something wrong. However, speaking again, the strength of these 5 talents is not weak. In the later stage of the day after tomorrow, the 7th level is considered the later stage. Now, the 4th level is just entering the middle stage, and I don't know if I can surpass them. Spitting out the willow branches in his mouth, Li Changming said, digging into the corners of an ox is not a big deal. It's also idle. Go down and ask someone if you know Jing, and you'll understand everything. Besides, in the world of divine sculptures, the Mongol army besieges Xianxia. Such a big event in the world, no one can be unaware. Li Changming walked out of the knot in his heart and immediately found a direction to rush towards the foot of the mountain. I just took 2 steps and didn't even apply my lightness skills. Ping pong, ping pong. The sound of metal collision is imperceptible to the ears. Sword and sword. At this time, Li Changming was a strong figure in the middle of the postnatal period, with a keen ear and a better understanding of the sounds of cold weapons. Li Changming, lock your position, use your lightness skills, and jump down. Leap out like a giant eagle, stepping on the waves and taking small steps, descending the mountain at an extremely fast speed. However, for a moment, Li Changming stopped and was surrounded by tall pine trees. New books set sail for collection. Please come and review the price tickets, flowers, thank you very much. Chapter 2. Gan Fan Huo. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. At this moment, less than 30 meters ahead of Li Changming, there is an entrance to a tomb. Outside the entrance of the tomb, nearly 100 people surrounded the entrance tightly. Xiaoka Huodu, I heard that Miss Long is here today for her birthday. I have prepared a generous gift and am here to marry Miss Long. The words did not end. I saw a woman wearing white clothes, like a fairy, with a sharp sword rolled up in her sleeve, stabbing towards the man. Huodu easily flipped over to avoid the approaching sharp sword and waved his fan, saying, "Is that how Miss Long received me to marry?" Xiaolongnu, Huodu, although Huodu's martial arts are not strong, Xiaolongnu's martial arts may be even weaker. So, this is the divine eagle heroes. Having a clear understanding of where one is, the suspended heart falls down, knowing oneself and the enemy, and being invincible in 100 battles. Seeing how easily Huodu avoided his sword moves, he confidently used his lightness skills to turn around and stood above the entrance of the ancient tomb, calmly putting on his gloves. What kind of people are you? I have already made it clear that I am here to marry Miss Long. These people all have the same thoughts as Xiao Wang, but Xiao Wang believes that Miss Long will definitely marry me. Huodu smiled inwardly and said to the little dragon girl above. Upon hearing the words of Huodu, Xiaolongnu was furious and touched the ground with her toes. She leaped into the air and stabbed towards Huodu with her sword. Huodu smiled and showed no fear. He opened his folding fan and came towards little dragon girl. Ding ding dang dang. The tip of the sword made contact with the fan, and Huodu suddenly closed the folding fan. The fan instantly drew Xiaolongnu's sword and followed the trend. Huodu kicked it with his right foot, but Xiaolongnu couldn't dodge and had to turn around and slap it. This little dragon girl should be able to hold on for a few rounds. Li Changming had already stood in front of the tree, openly watching the struggle between Xiaolongnu and Huodu. Anyway, now that he has figured out where he is, Li Changming has no worries at all. Help, help, or must we help? Li Changming had a slight smile on his lips, seeming quite conflicted. However, Xiaolongnu and Huodu once again clashed, and Xiaolongnu, who had just turned 18 years old, had only just reached the mid-stage of first-class competition, while Huodu had already reached the peak of first-class competition. As Li Changming was calculating in his heart, their movements did not slow down. Huodu shook the folding fan in his hand and arrived in an instant. Xiaolongnu thrust a sword and turned around to hide. I was secretly surprised in my heart. This person is so vicious, what is his heart made of? The inexperienced little dragon girl, with a simple mind, also saw Huodu's wolf-like ambition. For a moment, Xiaolongnu was even more respectful towards the world outside the ancient tomb. Little dragon girl didn't want to entangle with Huodu, and was afraid that Huodu would enter the ancient tomb and disturb the purity of her grandparents, so she came out to block them. Miss Long, let's go together. Before little dragon could speak, Huodu quickly stepped forward and clapped her palm with a strong hand. Miss Long, you have to leave today, even if you don't, you have to leave. Huodu was already confused by Xiaolongnu's appearance, so he ignored everything else and slapped Xiaolongnu with a palm. After 2 rounds of fighting, Xiaolongnu was already aware that Huodu's top-notch strength was far higher than her own. Seeing Huodu's palm strike, Xiaolongnu dared not take it hard and turned around to avoid it. Without a single blow, Huodu didn't pay any attention, as if little dragon girl couldn't escape, which surprised him. Turning his body around, he stepped on the stone tablet of the ancient tomb with his foot, and turned around with force. Huodu's body was exceptionally fast, charging towards little dragon girl. His folding fan instantly opened in his hand, and his palm mobilized internal energy, but his attack was even more fierce than before. The heavy attack on Zhongnan Mountain Chongyang Palace this time was just to take away this little dragon girl. Although the destruction of Chongyang Palace was stirred up by Jing, this little dragon girl is truly a legendary beauty in the martial arts world, but she had to be taken away. Xiaolongnu looked at Huodu in panic. This person was really cunning and ruthless, but at this moment, her old strength had passed away and her new strength had not yet emerged. How could she resist the fierce palm wind? Huodu is truly a cunning villain. He was rejected when he came to the ancient tomb to propose marriage, and instead, he was determined to take action. With such palm power, if it really hits little dragon girl, even the Luo Jin Xian may feel powerless. Deep contempt in his eyes, Li Changming stepped lightly on the waves, lightning fast, as if a ghost appeared in the battle formation in an instant. The 9-yang manual runs crazily, and at the same time, it waves its right hand. It seems that a simple Taijiquan move should take Huodu back more than 10 steps. Puff. Huodu suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood, and with a casual touch, Huodu was already seriously injured. Squatting on the ground, slowly lifting his head, he looked at Li Changming with a grim expression. Huodu became angry with embarrassment, and the young man in front of him, who was about his age, and perhaps even younger than himself, had such strength. Xiaolongnu was shocked and lost her composure, staring at Li Changming's back in a daze. Huodu spoke up and said, "Kid, who dare you sneak attack Xiao Wang? This person is weak in age, but he has such internal strength. I don't know where to learn from." There are also many people in the Central Plains martial arts who have defected to the Mongols, and following behind Huodu are people from the Central Plains martial arts. At this moment, seeing Li Changming take action and lightly defeat Huodu, I was even more surprised in my heart. Isn't it that this kid also admires Miss Long's beauty and wants to get a share of the pie? The Central Plains martial arts practitioners on the side whispered in a low voice. I don't know where the person came from, he probably started practicing martial arts from his mother's womb. A martial arts figure gathered around the scene and said, Li Changming appeared without any warning. Looking back at that dark shadow, I still have lingering palpitations. Li Changming just glanced at Huodu, with a smile on his lips and no word spoken. Huodu's strength is far inferior. Li Changming took 2 steps and reached out his right hand to hook Huodu. Kid, you're looking for death. Huodu rushed up in anger. Li Changming looked at Huodu with a sneer. Huodu's speed was already at its peak, but in Li Changming's eyes, there were many flaws. With anger in his hand, Huodu swore to make a living with a single blow. When he rushed forward, his palm strength was even stronger than before when he wanted to kill Xiaolongnu. Li Changming didn't dodge either. He casually waved his palm, as if an ordinary person had reached out, without any strength to speak of. Upon seeing this, Xiaolongnu didn't know why Li Changming was like this. She was worried and quickly took a step forward. Suddenly, Li Changming extended his left hand and grabbed Xiaolongnu's arm. Xiaolongnu's figure paused and she turned around to look at Li Changming. Looking at Li Changming with a harmless smile on her face, little dragon girl wanted to break free from Li Changming's palm, but no matter how hard she tried, she couldn't break free. At this moment, Huodu rushed forward and saw Li Changming grabbing little dragon girl with his left hand, and his right hand was powerless. He had intended to exert his internal strength, but when the matter came to an end, he thought of Li Changming's ghostly appearance, his lightning-fast body movements, and he had the intention of sneaking an attack. Measuring 1 inch to the right with his palm, he saw that he was about to hit Li Changming's chest. Suddenly, Li Changming's right hand moved slowly, and then Huodu's right palm was pulled out. Turning around, Li Changming and Huodu hand in hand. Bang! Huodu's figure flew backward several meters and landed in front of a group of martial arts practitioners. Instability in internal breathing, surging qi and blood within the body. Huodu had just calmed down his internal energy, but this matter was hit by Li Changming's palm, causing even more surging. With his mouth wide open, he spat out a mouthful of black blood. Hua Du looked at Li Changming with a sinister expression on his face, gritted his teeth and stood up, saying, "Kid, who the hell are you?" Li Changming remained silent, just looking at Hua Du. Little dragon girl looked at Li Changming in horror. At the moment when Li Changming took action, she could see it most clearly from the side. The speed was incredibly fast, the strength was gentle, but there was a hint of weighing 1,000 pounds. New books set sail for collection. Please come and review the price tickets, flowers, thank you very much. Chapter 3. Defeating Jing. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Looking up at Li Changming, Hua Du thought to himself, this person is young, has rich internal skills, and I don't know what her name is. I can only leave today. This little dragon girl must not be able to leave. In my heart's contemplation. Suddenly, Hua Du saw a strong killing intent in Li Changming's eyes. Biting his teeth, Hua Du stood up and said to the group of martial arts people behind him, he's alone. That little dragon girl has average martial arts skills and is not reliable. Let's all rush forward and kill him. Little dragon girl, I'll share it with you. How about that? The people around looked at each other one by one, and the person who had reincarnated as a lustful ghost, disregarding the obstruction of others, rushed forward first. With one person leading the way, the rest of the group were all drooling over the beauty of little dragon girl, and naturally couldn't control their own hands. Yes, this kid is just like that. As long as we all go up together, we can't deal with him if we don't believe him. Let's go up together. Whoever killed him, little dragon girl belongs to him. Hua Du quickly urged. Each spermatozoa will rush up to their heads. Li Changming had a sinister smile on his lips, indicating that he was about to kill someone again. Seeing everyone believing it to be true, they rushed forward to surround Li Changming, but Hua Du hid at the end with a devilish smile on his face. A bunch of fools, I won't play with you guys. Hua Du thought to himself and quickly flipped over to use his lightness skills and fled. Having fought twice and being beaten by Li Changming twice, Hua Du's personality naturally refused to entangle with such an ignorant person. Hua Du is really cunning, it's all possible. Li Changming cursed inwardly. If it weren't for the nearly 100 martial arts figures gathered in front of him, Hua would have had no chance of surviving. There are nearly 100 people in front of me, but some second and third-rate people can drag on their time. Looking at all the people around in front, their faces were full of joy, and the 9-yang manual suddenly turned on with a long, sharp sound and a cold hum. Kill! One of them shouted loudly and quickly rushed towards Li Changming. Then, the knife in his hand slashed towards Li Changming's arm. In an instant, everyone around gathered around. Li Changming's palm technique was wide open and harmonious, with no moves to speak of. He raised his right hand and, with the strength of his flesh palm, caught the blade that was being struck head-on. At the same time, he hit the person with his left palm and the force of his palm hit them. The person led by Li Changming was first knocked away by Li Changming, flying several meters away. Before they could land, their body exploded and was blown up. Xiaolongnu's frightened body paused backwards, trembling all over. Fierce. How cruel. Stepping on the waves and taking small steps, Li Changming's speed was incredibly fast. With hundreds of people, it only took a cup of tea time, and blood and meat were scattered all around. At this moment, Li Changming grabbed a person's head in his hand and was about to kill them. Suddenly, a loud shout from the air came out. Stop! Immediately after, a dragon's cry echoed through the sky. Li Changming was surprised in his heart, but he showed no intention of stopping. With a palm movement, he killed the person under his palm. Li Changming's right palm had already accumulated strength, and he saw a person, from top to bottom, striking towards Li Changming's head. The vigorous dragon singing and the sharp Changming were not careless at all. The 9-yang manual broke out. The day after tomorrow, the 4 peak accomplishments just received a slap from someone. The 2 palms intersected, and the sound of dragon chants echoed around. Li Changming was greatly shocked in his heart and said, with such strong internal power, the palm wind carries the dragon chant. Isn't it Jing? Li Changming looked up. Feeling the continuous downward pressure of Jing's internal power, Li Changming dared not forcefully take it and quickly moved the Qianquan movement, patting the boulder behind him with his left hand. Jing suddenly felt his internal strength like a mud ox entering the sea, never returning. He was surprised and didn't dare to stand still. He slapped his left palm downwards, and Jing dodged and retreated to the side. Li Changming, however, managed to dodge the palm of Jing's hand by taking small steps with a wave of movement. Just as he stood firm, he saw several Taoist priests following behind Jing, each with a white beard, but they were just a few of the 7 sons of Quanzhen. Jing was about to speak when suddenly, a huge stone beside him cracked, and scattered small stones scattered all over the ground. Looking at the scene in front of them, the white-bearded Taoist priests widened their eyes and looked at Li Changming. Xiaolongnu stood at the entrance of the ancient tomb, her heart already full of turmoil. Previously, Li Changming quickly killed 100 people in front of her, which seemed easy, but little dragon girl knew Li Changming's strength. The palm strength just now was powerful, and at Li Changming's age, he was able to move on. This is the power of the dragon subduing palm. It's truly amazing. Li Changming exclaimed in his heart. This young man is just a weak crown, he actually has such strength, and his future achievements are immeasurable. It's just that his skill of unloading his strength is strange. Jing's heart was filled with doubts, curiosity, and confusion towards Li Changming. I am even more shocked by the unloading method of the great Qianquan movement. With a solemn expression on his face, Jing knew that Li Changming's strength was not inferior to his own. Moreover, his ability to relieve stress was beyond comprehension. He looked up at Li Changming, and Jing saw that Li Changming also had a solemn expression on his face. I don't know why you killed so many people, little brother, he said. First, do we still need to explain to others about the murder here? Li Changming glanced at Jing, although he found it difficult to surpass him, Jing still couldn't do anything about himself. Upon hearing this, Jing's face became even more heavy. He whispered to Hao Datong beside him, Uncle Hao, have you ever seen the kung fu of unloading force? I have never heard of it before. This son's background is mysterious. However, at such an age, with this divine ability, I believe he is a disciple trained by some hidden world expert. However, in my humble opinion, this son has a strong killing aura, so we must be on guard. Hao Datong casually said. You speak with the surname Hao, but you are responsible. Li Changming looked disdainfully at Hao Dachannel. Although their voices were low, they could not escape Li Changming's ears. Yang Gua, who was following behind Jing, was shocked and lost his composure. Looking at Jing and Hao Datong in confusion, I was right beside them and didn't hear anything. This person could actually hear. Is it difficult? This person's martial arts skills are even higher than Uncle Gua. Yang Gua's heart was full of doubt. In the brief confrontation just now, both sides were at odds. Yang Guo was young and did not know the depth of the situation. New books set sale for collection. Please come and review the price tickets, flowers, thank you very much. Chapter 4. Sword Demon Valley. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Hao Datong was left speechless by Li Changming's words, only staring at him with bull eyes. What kind of martial arts does this person cultivate? Jing secretly thought to himself that Li Changming's words and actions were so shocking that he couldn't speak for a moment. His conversation with Hao Datong was so weak that he even listened to him. Jing's strength is only slightly stronger than mine, and his realm is not that high. Judging from his strength, he has not yet reached the peak of the 5 wonders, and it is quite difficult to defeat him now. Li Changming knew in his heart that although he had many means and most of his divine skills were gathered together, if he really had to confront Guo Jing head-on, it would only be a 1-on-1 battle at this time. To truly defeat Guo Jing, there is still some way to go. With longing in his heart, Li Changming lifted the ladder and climbed the clouds easily, landing on a tree. Li Changming quickly changed his steps and ran wildly through the forest. Guo Daxia, you will surely be defeated by our hands in 3 years. The 9 Yang Manual's powerful internal power resounds through the sky and is deafening. Yang Guo stood beside Guo Jing, suddenly covering his ears and struggling to roll on the ground. Guo Jing saw Yang Guo's appearance and quickly used his internal strength to separate his voice. Upon hearing this sound, Xiaolongnu's heart trembled and she dared not linger. She flashed into the ancient tomb. This son is only a weak coronal, yet he has such a rich internal strength. The sound lingered in the air for half a quarter of an hour before fading away. I just fought with him. Although he has strong internal strength, he is weaker than me. However, his unloading skills are truly amazing. I don't know what this means by leaving this message. Guo Jing looked at the pine forest where Li Changming was retreating in mid-air, with a solemn expression. Losing was not scary, but Guo Jing was afraid that Li Changming's killing intent would become a major threat to the martial arts world. I don't know what kind of master it is, who has trained such a disciple. It's so terrifying at such a young age. How to channel. The sentence from Li Changming earlier still echoes in Hao Datong's mind. The soldiers come and the generals will stop, while the water comes and the earth hides. Since the ancient tomb is empty, we should not stay more. Let's leave. Sun Bu'er spoke up, aware of Li Changming's terror. Let's go. Hao Datong said helplessly, although Li Changming was terrifying, according to what Li Changming left behind, it would be 3 years from now. Yang Guo followed behind Guo Jing, his thoughts already flying to the sky. The figure left by Li Changming and that sentence were deeply engraved on Yang Guo's body. In the ancient tomb, little dragon girl looked in the direction of the cave entrance. From Li Changming's appearance to Li Changming's departure, this brief encounter. Li Changming's almost terrifying strength lingered in little dragon girl's mind, unable to dissipate for a long time, thinking of corpses outside the ancient tomb. Stunned and lost in thought. At the foot of Zhongnan Mountain, Li Changming was unaware that his every move had stirred up the ups and downs of the entire world. Everyone who has seen Li Changming has their own thoughts, both good and bad. Sitting at the tavern, Li Changming took a sip of tea and pondered the next move in his heart. The big story has already been told. 3 years later, I must defeat Guo Jing, otherwise I will be tongue-twitching. Divine carving, divine carving, divine carving. Thinking of countermeasures in his heart, Li Changming stood up. Outside Xianxia city, seeking defeat alone. Sword tomb. Li Changming suddenly thought of a good place to go all the way. Leaving behind a copper coin, Li Changming walked out of the tavern, looked in the right direction, used his lightness skills, and flew out. During the day and night, Li Changming drove for a month before finally approaching Xianxia city. Walking in the mountains and forests, although Li Changming knew that the sword tomb was located outside Xianxia city, he was not very clear about the specific location mountain, and searched aimlessly. Halfway up the mountain, Li Changming saw an old man in front of him, with white hair and a cat crouching in the grass. Feeling puzzled, Li Changming quietly walked behind the old man. I saw the old man suddenly reach out and grab it forward. Li Changming instinctively wanted to retreat, but he didn't want to. The old man was holding a snake in his hand, and when he heard Li Changming's movements, his hand slipped in fear. The snake broke free from the old man, and its straight body opened its bloody mouth, ready to bite him. Li Changming didn't think much about it. The 9 Yang True Qi emerged with a majestic momentum, like a rainbow. The snake, which was only an inch away from the old man in mid-air, was instantly broken by its gallbladder. Its mouth closed and it fell down. The old man touched his chest and looked at the dead snake on the ground with lingering fear. Young man, this place is full of snakes. What are you doing here? The old man looked at Li Changming kindly and said. Li Changming felt quite embarrassed and said, Uncle, I was really sorry just now. Like uncle, I came here to catch snakes. Ah, young man, I accidentally walked away from the snake while slipping. You saved my life and were also a benefactor. The old man did not argue with Li Changming for disturbing himself and the snake just now. Li Changming couldn't help but think of something and was shocked. If it were there, he might have fallen to the ground waiting to go to the hospital. Uncle, do you often catch snakes here? Yeah, I heard that snakes here can cure diseases. I've been catching them here for a long time, but it's strange to say that the snakes here have good snake bile, said the old man. Although I don't know where the benefits of snake bile lie, I can still feel it both physically and mentally. Uncle, there is a snake called the Bodhisattva snake here. Do you know where they often appear? Bodhisattva snake, I haven't heard of such a snake before. The old man was lost in thought, shaking his head and saying. The Bodhisattva snake, the snake with horns on its head. Li Changming described, even those who know about the Bodhisattva snake in the martial arts world are uncertain, and besides that, this old man. Ah, the snake with horns on its head, isn't that a dragon? We all call it a dragon. They are too strong and numerous, all in the valley over there. The old man suddenly realized and extended his old finger, pointing Li Changming in a direction. Following the old man's finger, standing above, the sky and green trees on the mountain covered everything below. Thank you very much, old man. Li Changming said, jumping up and heading towards the direction pointed out by the old man. However, in a moment, Li Changming had already appeared in the valley. Looking around, Li Changming couldn't see a bodhisattva snake. He was puzzled and said, that old man doesn't look like a scammer. It should be here. Why didn't you see a snake? Li Changming muttered to himself. The sword sect, which seeks to feed alone, is a good place to go, and these bodhisattva snakes are even better things. However, Li Changming also has no intention of letting go. At this moment, two eagle sounds echoed in Li Changming's ear. To the west. Li Changming dared not have any hearing and swiftly charged towards the west with a gentle step on the waves. New books set sail for collection. Please come and review the price tickets, flowers, thank you very much. Chapter 5. Centennial Snake King. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The sound comes from here. Li Changming cleared the grass in front of him and looked around. A 3-story tall eagle, with sparse feathers and a whistling sound in its mouth, is fighting against a giant snake. The snake's head had a meaty horn, although it was pitifully small, it could still be seen. Bodhisattva snake. Li Changming's heart was filled with joy. The snake bile of the Bodhisattva snake could enhance his martial arts skills. With the sword tomb and his group, what he urgently needed was the snake bile of the Bodhisattva snake. When the divine eagle was fighting against the giant snake, a giant snake circled behind the divine eagle, spitting out its message. With unknown strength, the Bodhisattva snake behind the divine eagle leaped 3 zhang high. Seized the opportunity to wrap around the neck of the divine eagle. Li Changming dared not hesitate at the moment and jumped up. The giant snake that was ambushed was thicker than an adult's waist, opening its bloody mouth and emitting a strong smell of blood. When the 9-yang manual is used, the sharp, long sound spurs the body up, and the index finger of the right hand points forward. An invisible sword chi bursts out along the sharp, long sound fingers. The giant snake felt danger and moved its body in the air, landing steadily on the ground. The high singing of the divine eagle kept reaching Li Changming's ears. Although he couldn't understand the words of the divine eagle, Li Changming still spoke up, "Brother Eagle, I'll deal with this guy." Li Changming's words fell, and the eagle's voice became even louder, as if a divine eagle could understand Li Changming's words. The giant snake spat out its message and moved around Pan County, searching for an opportunity to take action. This snake, is it still a snake? Li Changming looked at the waist-thick giant snake in front of him with suspicion. When suspecting, the giant snake seemed to seize the opportunity and suddenly leaned out. Its straight body opened its bloody mouth and bit towards Li Changming's neck. Lingbo took a slight step and dodged, but the agile body of the giant snake was not slow at all. It attacked fiercely all the way, with a hint of swallowing the fierce roar in one gulp. The strength of this snake is much higher than expected. Li Changming was calmly shocked in his heart. Although he had not developed much of the immortal scripture, he had reached the 4 peaks of the postnatal world. Dealing with this bodhisattva serpent seemed a bit difficult. Lingbo took slight steps to move, but his hand movements were not slow. Li Changming knew in his heart that this bodhisattva snake was agile and could change its position at any time. He did not engage in close combat with it and used his young finger to harass the giant snake. The attack of the giant snake became increasingly fierce, but at this moment, Li Changming realized that the snake, after all, is a snake. Even if the snake has a body that can rival the early stage of the future, the toxin can kill the later stage of the martial arts masters. But it is ultimately just a beast. It is clear in my heart that Li Changming is not hiding. As I move around, the 9 Yang manual bursts out of infinite internal power, and Taijiquan is used. The body of the giant snake is nearly 10 meters away, and Li Changming takes it in the air with Taijiquan. The frightened giant snake still had to resist. Li Changming used Tai Chi to easily deflect the snake's head. In less than a stick of incense, Li Changming stood in place with his arms numb, while the giant snake, exhausted and lifeless, lay motionless on the ground. Damn it, this snake can really resist. It's really hard to kill you. Li Changming squatted down, his right index and middle fingers together, and with the force of one young finger, he cut open the 7 inches of the giant snake and took out its gallbladder. The large iron beak of the divine eagle pecked at the head of the bodhisattva snake, and immediately, the bodhisattva snake fell down. I saw 2 sharp claws of the divine eagle stepping on the body of the bodhisattva and gently biting open a hole in its 7-inch body. Holding snake bile in his mouth, he turned to look at Li Changming, his wings flapping. Li Changming, holding snake bile in deep thought, turned around and said, "Brother Diao, what's wrong?" The divine eagle lowered its head, and Li Changming reached out his right hand. A snake gallbladder landed in Li Changming's hand. "Snake gallbladder, thank you very much, Brother Diao," Li Changming casually said. The divine eagle emitted 2 eagle sounds, signaling that Li Changming should quickly eat the snake bile. Looking at the divine eagle, Li Changming placed 2 snake bile in his left hand, pinched his nose with his right hand, and swallowed the snake bile in one gulp. Wow! Li Changming spat out a trace of clean water, his face turning pale with a suppressed expression. The divine eagle flapped its wings and grabbed Li Changming, walking aside. In a deep mountain, Li Changming followed behind the divine eagle and said, "Brother Diao, where are you taking me?" After eating the snake gallbladder of the bodhisattva snake, Li Changming felt a surge of blood and energy in his body, and his internal power rapidly grew. He was supposed to practice in seclusion, but was taken to the back mountain by this divine eagle. The divine eagle stopped and extended its right wing, like a human finger, pointing not far ahead. Sword Tomb. Li Changming looked at the 2 big characters Sword Tomb carved on the half mountain in front of him. "Brother Diao, are you taking me to your house?" Li Changming finally realized that the giant bodhisattva snake was about to ambush the divine eagle, and he helped the divine eagle block the bodhisattva snake. The divine eagle gave himself snake bile as a reward, and now he has brought himself to this sword tomb. The divine eagle cannot speak, but can understand human language. He flapped his wings and looked at it with a sharp and long cry, then smiled and said, "Then I won't be polite." Using his lightness skills, Li Changming leapt to the neck of the divine eagle. The divine eagle slowly flapped its wings, but in a moment, Li Changming stood on the eagle's back and actually flew up. "Brother Diao, this is your home, isn't it great?" It's tall and spacious, and there's still sunlight in this cave. Li Changming looked at the secluded cave where he sought to feed alone. The cave had 5 divine eagles falling together at a height, with dozens of arm-sized openings around it, illuminated by sunlight. The divine eagle leaped to a high place and let out a roar from its mouth. Li Changming looked at the divine eagle with suspicion, and in an instant, the eagle vigorously flapped its wings. Then, a gust of strong wind blew up, and Li Changming used his internal strength to block the wind. Countless giant stones flew towards Li Changming. Taking a gentle step, Li Changming, dressed in a white shirt, stained with a little blood, like ghosts and monsters, lightly landed beside the divine eagle. "Brother Diao, you're going to give me something." Li Changming looked at the 4 swords under his feet. The divine eagle let out a high honking sound and nodded. Li Changming crouched down and picked up a sword. The line of text under the sword body was covered in dust, and a fierce and long cry blew out a breath, causing the smoke and dust to fly in time and space. Qing Feng Bao Feng, shimmering with cold light, invincible, before the weak crown, it competed with the river's upstream heroes. Qing Feng sword. Li Changming pondered for a moment, grabbed the handle of the Qing Feng sword, and turned around to use his internal power to sweep out. The surrounding boulders were instantly cut off by the sword energy emitted by the Qing Feng sword. It's truly incredibly sharp. Holding the Qing Feng sword, Li Changming carried a hint of affection. Who doesn't like such a sharp sword? The divine eagle was satisfied with Li Changming, and he himself excitedly let out a burst of eagle sounds. New books set sail for collection. Please come and review the price tickets, flowers, thank you very much. Chapter 6. Breakthrough. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Brother Diao, I have also given away my things. I have something else I want you to help me with. Li Changming touched the feathers of the divine eagle and said, "This divine eagle is also very friendly to itself. After all, it brought itself to the sword tomb. In its heart, this sword tomb is the most important place." The divine eagle let out a cry and lowered its head to look at Li Changming. "I just ate 2 snake galls from bodhisattva snakes, and now my blood is surging inside. I want to use Brother Diao's place to practice in seclusion and calm down my blood," Li Changming said. The divine eagle leaped to Li Changming's side, the little chicken nodded like sucking rice, and then stood quietly on the side. Li Changming didn't care either. No one knew how long the divine eagle Ndugu Chioshi had lived in the valley, but it was certain that the divine eagle must have understood the importance of practicing seclusion. At present, sitting cross-legged, Li Changming exercises his internal power and cultivates the immortal classic. Ding, the host is currently unable to cultivate the immortal classic. Is there no other way? The undead scripture is divided into millions of pages, and at this time, the host's body and the world it is in cannot support the energy of the undead scripture. I asked you to find a way for me, not to come out and say these things. Li Changming's tone is cold. Unlocking. The first page of the immortal scripture is 100/100W. With the energy-splitting strength of the immortal scripture, 0 represents the acquired, 10 represents innate, and 100 represents a master-level expert. Can you practice now? Li Changming said. The power of the immortal scripture deeply attracts Li Changming. Even at this moment, the immortal scripture can be cultivated to the strength of a master. Okay. Sitting cross-legged, his face unpredictable, Li Changming pressed his hands on his abdomen. Crazy operation of internal power, compressing the 9 yang true qi, Li Changming converts the 9 yang true qi in his body bit by bit into the energy of the unbreakable classic according to the mind's mind. After a while, Li Changming stood up and said, "Brother Diao, it's thanks to you helping me find such a good place." Whispering. Li Changming smiled and remained silent. Open the property panel. As soon as I thought about it, large characters appeared in front of Li Changming. Host. Li Changming. Age. 18, Title: Human Guardian Realm. Triple peak in the day after tomorrow. Technique: Immortal Classic page 1, 3/10000000, Constitution. Congenital Dao body pets. None. Weapon. None. Although the realm has fallen, it's okay, my strength has become stronger. Now I should be able to compete with Jing on June 4th. Li Changming smiled, and then suddenly realized that his blood was surging even more terrifying. Subconsciously, his right hand grasped his abdomen and Li Changming whispered, "What is this?" The host just focused on compressing the internal energy provided by the 9 yang true qi and a few bodhisattva snake gallbladder into indestructible energy. The host has eaten 2 bodhisattva snake king's gallbladder. Due to innate Taoist reasons, the host should remain closed. Li Changming was suddenly startled, and in the bewildered gaze of the divine eagle, he sat down again in a circle. Taking the Immortal Sutra as its root, Li Changming utilizes the energy of the Immortal Sutra within his body to digest a large amount of internal energy provided by the snake bile of the bodhisattva. The snake galls of 2 bodhisattva snakes provide almost terrifying energy for Li Changming. The innate Tao body has extraordinary absorption ability for spiritual objects in the world, and the 100-year snake galls have been completely absorbed by Li Changming. Over time, the divine eagle brought snake bile to Li Changming without any trouble. The energy in Li Changming's body that he ate was always unable to be fully absorbed, and new energy never appeared. Unconsciously, march time quietly passes by. On this day, the divine eagle brought 2 small snakes and took out the snake bile to feed Li Changming. However, Li Changming suddenly stood up and said, "Brother Eagle, I won't eat anymore. I wonder when the seclusion will end after eating." Li Changming said bitterly. Yanghua has eaten countless snake galls, but he may not be able to truly absorb only 1%, due to Li Changming's innate Tao body. Any treasure or spiritual fruit can be absorbed 100%. Eating it like this, although it is very beneficial for one's own cultivation, the more energy accumulates in the body, Li Changming really doesn't want to eat it anymore. The divine eagle looked vaguely at Li Changming, making 2 eagle sounds, but swallowed the snake gallbladder in one gulp. Standing up straight, looking at the snake corpse under my feet, there were dozens of bodhisattva snakes that had been eaten by me. Host: Li Changming. Age: 18, Title: Human Guardian Realm. 7 peaks in the day after tomorrow. Technique: Immortal Classic page 1, 7/10000000, Constitution. Congenital Dao body pets. None. Weapon. None. The 7 peaks of the day after tomorrow, this snake gallbladder is really a good thing, but unfortunately, if I eat it in the future, it won't be very useful. Li Changming said sorrowfully. The stronger the strength, the weaker the benefits of this snake gallbladder to oneself. Today, reaching the 7th peak of the day after tomorrow is not just due to the dozens of bodhisattva snakes under his feet, but rather the enormous energy provided by the 200-year-old snake gallbladder that Li Changming ate when he first saw the divine eagle. Brother Diao, these days you've caught so many bodhisattva snakes, they're not extinct yet. Li Changming suddenly spoke up. If there are too many bodhisattva snakes, taking out the snake bile can be very useful. The divine eagle shouted twice, flapping its wings. Brother Diao, it's because I've been in seclusion for 3 months and I want to try my skills. Li Changming smiled and said. The divine eagle walked out of the cave with small steps, and Li Changming saw that he truly understood the meaning of the divine eagle. With a smile on his face, he followed the divine eagle out of the cave. Standing in the valley, Li Changming's face was red with a smile on his face. He inserted the Qingfeng sword that the divine eagle had given him into the ground, and Li Changming said, Brother Diao, come first. Li Changming also wants to give it a try, to see how strong his body can be with his immortal meridians. This divine eagle is actually a very good companion for training. The divine eagle waved its wings, and the protagonist punched in, with both sides taking half a step back. Li Changming felt his internal strength surging and surging. Although the divine eagle didn't exert all his strength, he didn't leave much room for it. At the beginning, there was a brief confrontation between Li Changming and the divine eagle, weighing half a pound and 8 taels, without any distinction between top and bottom. Thanks to the immortal classic, otherwise, with the 9-yang manual, I'm afraid my life would have rolled this time. Li Changming said with a smile. Immediately he said to the divine eagle, Brother Diao, come again, let's fight for 300 rounds. The divine eagle raised its head and let out an excited roar. It has been nearly 20 years since he died alone, and this divine eagle has never fought against anyone. At this moment, encountering Li Changming, under simple probing, although Li Changming was slightly weaker than Duge Qiushi, he himself was also defeated by Duge Qiushi. The divine eagle flapped its wings and charged towards Li Changming with steps. New books set sail for collection. Please come and review the price tickets, flowers, thank you very much. Chapter 7. Brother Diao in Danger. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Li Changming showed no fear, and he was not sure about the strength of the divine eagle. Therefore, when he made a move, Li Changming did not hesitate. The immortal scripture began to operate, and the effect became apparent. Li Changming's physical body became even stronger, and the two sides engaged in another battle. Li Changming had never fought against the eagle before. At this moment, they could only rely on their brute force and unwavering physical strength to engage in a fierce battle with the divine eagle. A punch fell, and the divine eagle flapped its wings. Li Changming's body spun in mid-air, taking small steps on the waves and dodging, with a graceful figure. The divine eagle saw that Li Changming's strength was not weak, and he did not hesitate. His huge wings flapped towards Li Changming head-on. Li Changming's figure paused, his right hand catching the wings of the divine eagle fan, and he made a great movement of heaven and earth. His left hand slapped towards the ground, instantly releasing the power of the divine eagle. The divine eagle's eyes showed surprise and confusion. Having been alone and seeking defeat for a long time, the divine eagle has a profound understanding of human martial arts, even if it cannot be shared with others. Seeing Li Changming grabbing himself with his right hand and releasing his left hand, the divine eagle's wings suddenly fanned out together. Li Changming's face was shocked. This divine eagle could think of this way to deal with his Qianquan great movement. There was a slight smile on the corner of his mouth, and Li Changming no longer used the Qianquan great movement to relieve his strength, but instead used Tai Chi. One person, one carving, entangled in battle for hundreds of rounds, Li Changming used his graceful body technique of floating waves and taking small steps to move and dodge. Tai Chi is frequently practiced, with minimal loss of internal strength. On the contrary, it is a divine eagle. Its combat power in the later stages of the day after tomorrow is insufficient, and its flapping wings are already powerless. Li Changming leapt out and distanced himself from the divine eagle, stretching out his right hand and saying, Brother Diao, you can't beat me. After all, you don't understand martial arts, let alone look like a human. Although your cultivation in the later stage of the day after tomorrow may be higher than mine, you can only rely on tremendous strength, and it's not beautiful. The divine eagle shrugged and pulled its head in a low mood. After World War I, Li Changming actually gained a deeper understanding of his own strength. With the combination of the Qianquan great movement and Tai Chi, coupled with the energy and cultivation of the immortal scripture, I am now standing at the peak of the world of divine sculptures. Whispering. The divine eagle let out a deep roar. Brother Diao, let's go back. Li Changming waved his hand and said. The divine eagle stopped speaking and returned to the cave with Li Changming. Staying at the sword tomb, Li Changming did not eat the snake bile of the bodhisattva snake. As usual, he sat cross-legged, leaning against the spiritual energy of heaven and earth, practicing the immortal scripture. Although the progress was slow, fortunately it gave Li Changming a deeper understanding of the immortal scripture. On this day, while Li Changming was closing down, suddenly, the sharp honking of divine eagles came from outside the cave. The sound is loud and majestic, shaking the 8 wastelands. Li Changming has been living in the sword tomb for nearly 4 months, practicing in seclusion almost every day. However, there has never been a divine eagle that emits such a sound that disrupts his cultivation. Feeling puzzled, Li Changming finished his work and stood up. The sound of the eagle's voice became louder and louder, and Li Changming was even more puzzled. Recognizing the position of the divine eagle, Li Changming used his lightness skills and rushed away. However, in a moment, Li Changming entered a cave, which was neither big nor small, just one head higher than the divine eagle. Li Changming looked at the back of the divine eagle and said, "Brother Diao, you're not like this on weekdays. What's going on today?" In the cave, there is no sunlight, although not to mention reaching out and not seeing 5 fingers, the light is also dark and gloomy. Li Changming's words fell, and the divine eagle let out another sound of carving. With this sound, Li Changming could feel that the divine eagle was in fear. With deep thoughts in his heart, Li Changming looked left and right. Although the strength of this divine eagle was not particularly strong, it was by no means an opponent of ordinary things. Even if he wanted to easily compete with the divine eagle, it was impossible. What exactly is it that can make the divine eagle so afraid? While watching, suddenly, a cloud in the sky gave way to the road, and the sunlight instantly shone on the periphery of the cave, followed by dim sunlight. Li Changming clearly saw that the divine eagle was now surrounded by countless bodhisattva snakes. "Brother Diao, when did you become so timid? Did you even be scared by these little snakes?" Li Changming joked, but as soon as he finished speaking, he suddenly took a step back and quickly exited the cave, covered in goosebumps and sweating profusely from behind. Looking at the cave with a pale face, Li Changming's expression was full of fear. Startled at first, Li Changming withdrew from the cave. At this moment, he regained his senses, but entered the cave again. Li Changming looked at a bodhisattva snake in front of the divine eagle. Although the light was dim, Li Changming used his inner strength to bring everything inside the cave to his eyes. In front of the divine eagle, the bodhisattva serpent has not yet crawled out of its body, while the body hovering around the divine eagle is stretched out. 100-meter python. Li Changming was stunned and lost in thought. The bodhisattva snake, which is over 100 meters long, has red eyes and a red light on its head. It has a huge horn, which is more than an arm taller than Li Changming. On the flesh corner, golden light bloomed, faintly visible and terrifying. Although the body did not crawl out, it still looked around, waiting for an opportunity to strike the divine eagle. The divine eagle was frightened and let out a roar, but refused to die here. It crazily poked out its iron-like mouth, surrounded by countless small snakes. With its mouth out, the divine eagle could kill dozens of bodhisattva snakes in 100 years. And that terrifying bodhisattva snake, every time it strikes the divine eagle, it makes the eagle panic. It can be as light as removing 2 feathers that Li Changming couldn't even remove with all his might, or as heavy as biting into the eagle's wings with a single bite. The green sword is about to cut through the wings, but the 100-meter-long bodhisattva snake easily penetrates. Over and over again, the divine eagle had already been covered in bruises and injuries, which were not fatal, but they also made the divine eagle pounce. Li Changming knew very well that this divine eagle was not a match for the giant snake in front of him. He dared not doubt it, so he quickly drew his Qinfeng sword and took a gentle step on the waves. The sword energy swept over, and countless bodhisattva snakes on the ground suddenly rolled up their white bellies. Lingbo took tiny steps at an extremely fast speed, and Li Changming had already arrived in front of the bodhisattva snake. Unexpectedly, the 100-meter-long bodhisattva snake swung its tail fiercely, but its body had already been dragged out from the depths. Shaking its tail like the wind, a terrifying gust of wind blew fiercely towards Li Changming. Li Changming's face was deformed by the gust of wind, and he dared not hesitate. He quickly blocked the Qin Feng sword in front of him. As soon as Qin Feng's sword made contact with the tail of a 100-meter giant snake, Li Changming felt a frenzy of strength coming in. His face changed dramatically, and before Li Changming could make a big move, his tail instantly threw Li Changming onto the wall. Flying in the air, Li Changming saw that he was about to collide with a wall. If the collision was strong, it would be difficult to save the divine eagle. At the critical moment, Li Changming forcefully maneuvered the Qianquan great move in mid-air at a slow speed, but at the moment when his back touched the wall, he unloaded his force onto the wall. New books set sail for collection. Please come and review the price tickets, flowers, thank you very much. Chapter 8. Millennium Snake Emperor. You are listening at novelfull.audio. System, what's the situation with Nima? Playing with Laozi. Li Changming still has lingering palpitations in his heart. If it weren't for his own method of the great movement of heaven and earth, which can relieve his strength all over his body, and his invincible and powerful physical body, I'm afraid he would have died in this moment. Host, this snake can no longer be called a snake. Do you remember what the old man said? Jiaolong, this snake has lived here for 999 years and is the emperor of all the bodhisattva snakes here. At this time, it is the final stage of transforming into a dragon. If it were to transform into a dragon, its strength would surpass that of the heavens, and its combat power would be indescribable. 9990.9 years old, a 100-meter python, wants to transform into a dragon. Are you sure this is the world of the divine eagle heroes? Li Changming's face turned pale, and the strength of the bodhisattva snake was too strong. If they were to fight, they would definitely not be their enemy. Don't kill him. In this world, you can only live for less than a year at most. As the system says, transforming a body into a dragon doubles its strength. At this point, there is such tremendous power, but one is still not an opponent. If one were to transform a dragon, how much strength would it be? Nima, this can't be done, it can't be done. Li Changming is no longer negotiating with the system and leaps forward. At this moment, the divine eagle was frantically pouting at the bodhisattva snake beside him. Iron-like mouth, stained with blood. Li Changming looked at the 100-meter giant snake, and without hesitation, he moved his feet. He exerted all his strength with the unbreakable scripture and the great movement of heaven and earth, tightly gripping the Qin Feng sword and charging forward. The Qin Feng sword had 3 spikes and 2 spikes, but all of them were easily avoided by the Snake Emperor. In a fit of anger, Li Changming forcefully inserted the Qin Feng sword into the ground, with both fingers together and one young finger shooting straight into the Snake Emperor's eyes. The Snake Emperor spat out his message, and as his energy was about to come into contact with him, he turned around and dodged. The energy hit the Snake Emperor, but only made a cut. On the other hand, the Snake Emperor felt no pain at all. The divine eagle killed the surrounding small snakes, took small steps to rush towards the Snake Emperor, poked its head out, and was about to bite the Snake Emperor. The Snake Emperor's body was agile, avoiding the mouth of the divine eagle and instantly moving towards its wings. It seemed that as long as the eagle's wings were broken, the divine eagle would no longer be a threat. Li Changming knew the intentions of the Snake Emperor in his heart. Moreover, the eagle and the snake were natural enemies, and if they collided at this moment, they would surely die. Seeing the Snake Emperor attacking the divine eagle, Li Changming quickly stepped forward to assist the divine eagle. The Snake Emperor swung his tail and let out a long and fierce roar, playing Tai Chi, using softness to overcome hardness, slowly unloading the immense power brought by the Snake Emperor's tail. Unexpectedly, at this moment, the Snake Emperor bit into the wings of the divine eagle, and the rough flesh of the divine eagle was instantly pierced by the Snake Emperor's sharp teeth. With a roar of eagles, the divine eagle launched a fierce attack on the Snake Emperor. Relying on the immortal scriptures to make the body stronger, Li Changming and the divine eagle have been together for several months, and each person in eagle has already achieved an indescribable understanding. The human eagle cooperated and fiercely attacked a stick of incense for a long time. Li Changming exerted all his abilities, almost exhausted his internal strength, panting heavily. The divine eagle was covered in blood, and his wings had two needle-like little Confucius. It was at this moment that the Snake Emperor poked his head out towards Li Changming, with a large movement. Suddenly, Li Changming could clearly see that the Snake Emperor's skin was peeling off. The Snake Emperor seemed to have noticed this too. When he wanted to retract his head, Li Changming had already used his last bit of internal power and forcefully sucked the Qingfeng sword inserted into the crevice of the stone into his hand. The Snake Emperor's head retreated half a minute, and Li Changming's Qingfeng sword was suddenly cut off. The sword energy fell, and half a huge snake head fell down. I didn't cut to the corner. Li Changming saw that the Snake Emperor had half of his head chopped off. Although he did not cut off his horns, without his head, he would undoubtedly die. As soon as the tense nerve subsided, Li Changming suddenly felt weak all over, and the battle with the Snake Emperor could be said to have exhausted all his strength. Falling down, Li Changming was about to land on one foot when he saw the divine eagle rushing towards him. Then, he poked his head out and picked up half of the head that Snake Emperor had chopped off. Li Changming felt strange when he saw the divine eagle like this. He looked towards the eagle's mouth, only to see the head he had cut off still with its mouth open and closed, sharp teeth poised for action. Damn it, I forgot about this. Even an ordinary water snake can survive for 2 days after losing its head, let alone this Snake Emperor. As Li Changming dragged his tired body towards the body of the Snake Emperor, he saw that his body was still moving, as if he wanted to escape. Without hesitation, Li Changming accurately positioned himself and threw the Qingfeng sword out in an instant. The Qingfeng sword swept through the pitch-black cave, and the air was divided in half by the Qingfeng sword. It steadily penetrated the Snake Emperor's body, and the sword body penetrated into the crevice of the stone. It's okay to molt, otherwise it wouldn't be easy to handle. Li Changming felt lingering fear and said, if this Snake Emperor had not reached the final deadline to transform into a dragon in battle, and had shed his skin as a result, he would have feared that he and the divine eagle would have been buried in the snake's belly today. Taking 2 steps forward, Li Changming pulled out the Qingfeng sword and began cutting along the body of the Snake Emperor. Divide the body of the Snake Emperor in half. The 100-meter python is hovering in one place, and it's not easy to accurately find the snake bile. Taking out the snake gallbladder, in an instant, the entire cave was illuminated by an emerald green light. This is the good thing. Li Changming carefully held the snake gallbladder in his hand and pulled out the Qingfeng sword, saying, Brother Diao, you're injured. Let's go back to the sword tomb first. The divine eagle raised its neck and ate half of the head of the Snake Emperor, then walked towards his body and picked up the body that had been split in half by Li Changming before leaving the cave. Brother Diao, this Snake Emperor almost achieved 1,000 years of cultivation in an instant. Eating its meat is also a great tonic. Don't eat it all, leave some for me. Li Changming has never tasted the taste of snake meat, but according to hearsay, the taste of snake meat is not good. But at this moment, there is almost 1,000 years of cultivation of snake meat, no matter what its taste is, it will have great benefits for oneself. As for the snake gallbladder, Li Changming took it out and carefully looked at it. The snake gallbladder still emitted an emerald green light, and Li Changming's saliva was only flowing. However, Li Changming still turned his gaze to the snake meat in the mouth of the divine eagle. The snake gallbladder of the centenary snake king has consumed me for 3 months. I will leave it for now and return to the sword tomb for further refinement. Li Changming placed the snake bile in a wooden box. The divine eagle let out a roar and threw the flesh of the Snake Emperor in front of Li Changming, as if he wanted Li Changming to cut it open. New books set sale for collection. Please come and review the price tickets, flowers, thank you very much. Chapter 9. Breaking the Innate Nature. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Sword Tomb. Li Changming sat inside the cave, taking out the snake bile from the wooden box. See how much benefit you can give me. Without hesitation, Li Changming swallowed the snake bile in one gulp. The snake meat he ate outside the cave during the day was not very beneficial. As soon as this snake bile entered his abdomen, Li Changming suddenly felt a surge in his body, and his internal strength began to become irritable. This is Nima. Just during the conversation, the internal turmoil became more severe and urgent. Without hesitation, Li Changming operates the immortal meridian, refining the energy of snake bile and converting it into the energy of the immortal meridian. Day after day, night after night, Li Changming's body was covered in dust, and 2 hot and cold days rushed by. Apart from his daily foraging time, the divine eagle constantly guards the sword tomb, with an emotion that seems to concern the divine eagle that Li Changming will be disturbed during seclusion. This day is noon. In the cave, there was a sudden explosion, and the divine eagle was startled. He quickly let out a roar and rushed frantically into the cave. The entire cave swayed slightly under the simultaneous impact of energy and the massive body of the divine eagle. The giant stones next to Li Changming flew one by one towards the wall. Tang! Li Changming jumped out of the pile of stones and said, "Brother Diao, are you responsible for all this?" Li Changming only felt his internal strength surging and his realm rising to a very high level. Just remembering the scene of being surrounded by giant rocks when he just opened his eyes, Li Changming couldn't help but burst into laughter. Whispering. The divine eagle is very satisfied with his approach. After waving his hand, Li Changming said, "Brother Diao, for the past 2 years, you have been protecting me day and night, and you have also exhausted me." The divine eagle let out 2 high screams. Open the property panel. Host. Li Changming. Age. 20, Title. Human Guardian Realm. 1 level innate. Technique. Immortal Classic page 1, 10/10000000, Constitution. Congenital Dao body pets. None. Weapon. None. Innate. This snake bile is really not an ordinary thing. Li Changming muttered to himself, for the past 2 years, he has been refining the snake gallbladder of the snake emperor. The innate Dao body allowed Li Changming to fully absorb it and refine it without destroying the scriptures. Unexpectedly, he gained such great benefits. That's all I can do. Thinking of the current peak of the Immortal Classic and the Grandmaster's realm, I have to find other things to strengthen myself. Li Changming looked around and saw that he had been living in this sword tomb for 2 years and 5 months, although he had been in seclusion for 2 years and 4 months. "Brother Diao, I still have something to do, so don't disturb me. If there's a chance in the future, I'll come and see you." Li Changming also needs to complete global tasks, receive task rewards, and quickly enhance his body in immortal cultivation. Nowadays, even if these 5 wonders are strong, it is difficult to have innate boundaries. It is not difficult to defeat them. Whispering. The divine eagle blocked the exit of the cave, seemingly unwilling to let Li Changming leave the sword tomb. The Qingfeng sword was put away, and Li Changming reached out to touch the feathers of the divine eagle and said, "Brother Diao, I must bid you farewell for 1,000 miles. Besides, I will come back to see you." Li Changming knew in his heart that although there had been no substantial communication during the past 2 years, he had developed an indescribable relationship with the divine eagle. Ding, congratulations to the host. The divine eagle has successfully recognized the master and the host has obtained their first pet, the divine eagle. Li Changming's face remained calm and he asked, "What are the benefits of the divine eagle recognizing its master?" Ding, of course there are benefits. The host can communicate with the divine eagle through spirit, which can make it easier for the divine eagle to understand the host's thoughts. System channel. Li Changming sighed and looked at the divine eagle, his mental energy running in his mind, but the pitiful mental energy made the divine eagle look uplifted. Hand over the part of one's own understanding that is not extinguished to the divine eagle through spiritual power. The divine eagle understood the meaning and suddenly withdrew its wings that blocked the cave, emitting 2 eagle sounds. Immediately after, the divine eagle stood in the secluded area of Li Changming, with his eyes closed, but his thick and thin hair fell into a deep sleep. This pet is a bit big. Li Changming chuckled and said, holding the Qingfeng sword in his hand, placing a strong innate sword aura around the divine eagle. At a glance, this innate sword energy continuously emitted sword lights. Hidden and elusive, protecting the surroundings of the divine eagle. Looking at the sword energy he had set up, Li Changming smiled and said, the sword energy is not me after all, but with such a strong innate sword energy, how many people can catch it? Don't even think about encountering a divine eagle. Li Changming looked at his masterpiece and was very satisfied. Although his sword energy was not comparable to his own, it was difficult for people from the martial arts world to appear in the sword tomb. Throughout the entire divine eagle, only Yang Guo entered the sword tomb. Leaving behind his sword energy, Li Changming remained calm in his heart, no longer worried about the divine eagle. He turned around and used his lightness skills. His innate true energy was pregnant under his feet, and he took small steps like a phantom, virtual and real, like a divine ghost, wandering through the mountains and forests. Heading towards the Zhongnan mountain, Li Changming rushed through the mountains and forests, unleashing the power of innate true qi and taking gentle steps without expending any internal energy. After only 7 days of rushing, Li Changming stood at the foot of Zhongnan mountain. Here comes the Zhongnan mountain again, but this time. Li Changming smiled and said that since the death of Wang Chongyang, every generation of disciples in Zhongnan mountain has been inferior to every generation of disciples. This Wang Chongyang doesn't know how to teach his disciples either. The more he thought in his heart, the more ridiculous it became. Li Changming walked towards the Zhongnan mountain with great strides. Just halfway up the mountain, Li Changming suddenly stopped in his tracks. Hey, the kid from there, what are you doing up to Zhongnan mountain? A Taoist, wearing a goat beard, said to Li Changming. Senior brother Zhao, this little brother may have gone up the mountain to learn from his master. How could we do this? The Taoist, who spoke rudely, was said by his junior apprentice on the side, his face turning red, and he said, what do you know? He looks like this, where do you learn from his master? Li Changming remained silent and looked at the 2 Taoists. Senior brother Zhao, Zhao Zhijing. Upon hearing the person beside him addressing him, Li Changming already knew in his heart who this Taoist was. Hey, that kid, if you don't want to die, hurry down the mountain. Otherwise, no wonder Zhao Zhijing is ruthless. Zhao Zhijing reported to his family and looked at Li Changming with a stern expression on his face. And still steal lives, you autumn queen grasshopper, how could you have died on your own? After Li Changming finished speaking, he lifted the ladder and swiftly approached Zhao Zhijing. When Zhao Zhijing and Yin Jiping were still understanding the meaning in Li Changming's words, they only saw Li Changming clapping his hands. The graceful and carefree body movements, along with a gentle palm breeze, only lightly patted Zhao Zhijing's body. There was no blood spurting from the mouth as imagined, but Zhao Zhijing was unharmed. Li Changming fell down and stood behind Zhao Zhijing and Yin Jiping. After calming down, Zhao Zhijing drew his sword in anger and cursed, "Kid, you're looking for death. You come." Li Changming suddenly turned around and extended his finger to Zhao Zhijing. "Go to hell." Zhao Zhijing mobilized his internal strength and took a sudden step forward. My footsteps just landed on the ground. Bang! Blood mist scattered everywhere, and Zhao Zhijing's internal strength, mobilized by himself, exploded to pieces, with pieces of cloth falling down. Yin Jiping looked at the lingering blood mist beside him, his mind buzzing. New books set sail for collection. Please come and review the price tickets, flowers, thank you very much. Chapter 10. Exit the pass and enter the ancient tomb again. You are listening at novelfull.audio. What kind of person are you? Yinji calmly regained his senses and looked at Li Changming in terror. Are you Yinjiping? Li Changming said. What's going on? Li Changming saw Yinjiping admit, and a cold smile appeared on the corner of his mouth, saying, I will not kill you today, as you are still virtuous. However, in order to avoid any accidents in the future, you, who are a starving ghost reincarnated, should leave something behind. As soon as the words fell, Li Changming and Yinjiping fell several meters away and instantly drew the Qingfeng sword. A cold light flashed by, and the Qingfeng sword emitted a sword aura. Ah! Yinjiping let out a roar, and the painful voice spread throughout the entire Zhongnan mountain. When Li Changming withdrew the Qingfeng sword, blood had already flowed out between Yinjiping's legs. If it weren't for Yinjiping's human nature, under Zhao Zijing's actions, he could have spoken out for himself. Turning around, Li Changming headed straight towards the ancient tomb. Yinjiping's castration was nothing more than a trivial matter in Li Changming's eyes. 2 years have passed, but Li Changming now feels a bit nostalgic for the fairy-like little dragon girl. Leaving Yinjiping alone, he was in chaos in the wind. Li Changming has disappeared without a trace. Lingbo took a slight step, reaching the pinnacle of speed, and Li Changming arrived at the gate of the ancient tomb in an instant. Miss Long, come out and meet me. Li Changming stood at the entrance of the ancient tomb and shouted. The sound transmitted to the ancient tomb, surrounded by the stone walls, causing the sound of Li Changming to echo for a long time and cannot be dissipated. No, isn't Xiaolongnu in the ancient tomb? Li Changming looked at the ancient tomb strangely. Little dragon girl shouldn't have left the tomb, but why did she not notice any existence of life in the internal energy she transmitted? Feeling puzzled in his heart, Li Changming disregarded everything else and leaped forward, taking small steps in mid-air to borrow his strength and falling gracefully. Just as he landed, a young boy who was only 15 years old ran up to Li Changming and said, You are. Is it you? The big boy said with a frightened expression on his face. Who are you? Li Changming was quite strange. A man appeared in this ancient tomb. As soon as he finished speaking, Li Changming said, Are you Yanghua? Senior, you know me. Yanghua didn't know how to reveal his family name for a while, but when Li Changming said it himself, it actually made Yanghua feel less embarrassed. Why are you the only one in the ancient tomb, Miss Long? Li Changming was still puzzled in his heart. Yanghua appeared here, but Xiaolongnu was not there. It seemed that the development of the matter had exceeded his expectations. Yanghua looked apologetic and said, After the previous generation and Uncle Gua slapped each other, Aunt Long has been concerned about her. 2 years ago, one night, I ran out of the Chongyang Palace and was taken in by Grandma Sunday. However, the third night, I heard Aunt Long and Grandma's son say that she wants to go out of the ancient tomb to find someone. She went out to find me. What about Grandma Sunday? Grandma's son passed away a few days ago and is no longer there. When Yanghua faced Li Changming, for some reason, the first time they met, Li Changming always had an aura that made people unable to approach and felt fearful. And this time, on the contrary, Li Changming gave people a feeling that although it was a bit cold, it did not have such a strong momentum. Recalling the strong internal strength of Li Changming when he left Zhongnan Mountain, he suffered a lot. Li Changming was even more shocked. He didn't expect that just meeting Xiaolongnu once would give her a different mindset. Looking at Yanghua's martial arts, although his foundation is good, he is only some inferior martial arts. Your martial arts are all taught from Chuanjin. As Li Changming spoke, he looked towards the entrance of the ancient tomb. Little dragon girl left the tomb alone. Can she really handle the world outside? No, those Taoists from Chuanjin sect are getting worse and worse each time. They bullied me and forced me to the ancient tomb. My martial arts were also taken care of by Grandma's son, who taught me some ancient tomb martial arts on the stone wall. Yanghua looked at Li Changming's back and quickly said. Yanghua, who was well versed in the world, first met Li Changming. Li Changming's expression was completely displeased and disgusted with the Taoist priests of the Chuanjin sect. Second-rate peak, you have been learning ancient tomb martial arts for the past 2 years, and your speed is not slow. After Li Changming finished speaking, he continued, "Where is Miss Long's room? Take me to take a look." Yang Guo dared not hesitate and walked into the small room of the ancient tomb with Li Changming. Under Yang Guo's leadership, the two of them turned left and right, and the tomb was covered in mechanisms. However, in a moment, Yang Guo and Li Changming entered a room, where the cold air was overwhelming. There was a snow-white ice bed, emitting a thick white mist. Cold jade bed. Li Changming was pleasantly surprised when he saw the cold jade bed. To his surprise, the cold air of the bed had no effect on him. "System, why doesn't the chill of this cold jade bed feel to me?" Li Changming inquired about the system. The cold jade bed is a support for cultivation, and when you enter the room, you may not feel chilly just looking at the cold air, but your body does not have any hint of coldness. Host, this cold jade bed was forged by 10,000 years of cold ice, and it has miraculous effects on experts below 9 levels in the postnatal world. However, if the host wants to use the cold jade bed with innate strength, they must worship the cold ice in their later years or even above to be effective. System channel. Li Changming glanced left and right and said to himself, "This cold jade bed was brought by Wang Chongyang. Although he knows it is in the Arctic, how can we find it? The Arctic is so big." Thinking in his heart, Li Changming naturally hoped to find a piece of ice that has been over 1,000,000 years old. However, the Arctic is located in a remote area, and humans cannot survive. Finding this ice is equivalent to reaching the sky. Wang Chongyang, no, he went to the Arctic. It's impossible that he didn't leave any records. With such a big event, there should be news about the Arctic from the Chongyang Palace, right? Li Changming once again fixed his gaze on the Chongyang Palace. Previously, when I went up the mountain, I killed Zhao Zhijing first and then castrated Yin Jiping. Now that I am going to Chongyang Palace, it seems that I can only force myself to go up the mountain. Senior, do you know this cold jade bed? This cold jade bed is a good thing. I can practice on it for thousands of miles in a day. Otherwise, Senior, give it a try. Yang Guo said with a playful smile. Li Changming suddenly visited the ancient tomb. Although he was looking for Aunt Long, he was the only one in the entire tomb at this moment. Yang Guo thought that this might be a rare opportunity. This cold jade bed is indeed a good thing, but it is of little use to me, and the internal skills you cultivate cannot fully unleash the power of the cold jade bed. Li Changming clarified Yang Guo's thoughts and said expressionlessly. New books set sale for collection. Please come and review the price tickets. Flowers, thank you very much.